Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. Today's reading is all about who are your top 3 fans, admirers, cheerleaders, supports. And this may pick up people that you already know. It may also pick up people who are coming into your life, say in the next 3 to 6 months. So we're going to explore what it is, some characteristics about them that will help you understand who they are and how they feel and respond to you. And this may be romantic and it may not be. So I suspect, unless you're sort of someone who's drawing a lot of romantic interest at the moment, we'll have a bit of a variety because we're going to look at the top 3, but let's see what happens. We're also going to have a look at what it is particularly about you that they really admire and are drawn to, the feelings that the two of you maybe evoke in each other, and ask the tarot around, or ask spirit through tarot around what is the best way to maximise the best relationship out of this for both of you. Then, because it's possible you won't necessarily know who some of these people are, maybe they're a little bit of a secret admirer, or maybe they are yet to come into your life, we'll also use some various oracles that give other sort of characteristics and defining elements to help you work out who it is if you're not sure. So hopefully it'll be a bit of fun and really positive, because this is about people that admire you. So even if there's tricky stuff here, that's going to be picking up energy about what they admire in you or what they want to work with you on in one form or another to deal with. So it's very much the intention of this reading is about the positives in life and how to make them even more positive. To help choose which reading you should go to, and as I always say, you can go to more than one if you like, because there might be people across this that are actually the right ones for you to know about, so let your own spirit and your own discernment decide. But to help you choose, I'm using the chakra placement stones. The first reading has the solar plexus chakra placement stone. The second reading, pile 2, has a throat chakra, and the third reading has the heart chakra. That doesn't mean that's about love, that's about communication, that's about self-esteem. I don't know what cards are under here or what will come up in the reading. I just think that self-esteem, communication and the heart are really the core energies around mutual admiration relationships or admiration relationships in general. So they seem like the right sort of energies to combine for this reading. So when you know which reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps as always are in the description box below. Pause the video if you need to contemplate it to make your choice. And when you know which reading you want to go to, I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So what we've got here is a couple of archetype cards for each of the people, and we've also got the jukebox oracle to get a sense, once we've talked about what these cards are saying about what they are feeling or how they are relating to you in terms of their admiration. Then we'll move on into looking at what you represent to them and so forth. So firstly, we just want to get a sense about who these people are. So firstly, these two archetypes, the magician and the artist, suggest it's someone in your life who is very creative, who maybe seems a little bit magical. Like it literally could be someone who, in a very specific way, does magic tricks or is interested in that side of things, or potentially also magic in the sort of more spiritual way. But they're very, very creative. They're someone who potentially, I think I'm getting a sense with the hand being held out here, that they're almost maybe making an offer to you, maybe to collaborate on something or work on a creative project together, or there's something about they live their life as a kind of work of art and they see you as doing the same thing. So there's a sense of, I feel like this is someone in your life who is like a peer or a collaborator. It could be a friend, it could be someone in some form of group that you're around, it could be someone that you're working with, but whoever it is, there is something magical about them and something creative about them. And it may be, I'm getting that for some of you, you may actually admire this person and not realize how much they admire you. You may in fact look up to them on some level with this, particularly if you are creative and have a sense of the spiritual yourself. But it's like this person has seen that there's much more in you than maybe you see. And they really do want to be in your life to cheerlead you on or to support you in some way to bring your own artistic energy out. This person over here feels like a friend. We've got the sense of intuitive and extrovert. It's an interesting combination of characteristics. I think this is someone in your life. I mean, it could be a friend or it could be a co-worker or a family member, but you will know them because they are really, really out and proud about whatever it is that they believe in, who they are. They like to have fun, but they're an interesting combination because they appear to be the life of the party. They appear to be out for fun and adventure, but they're highly intuitive. They really can read a room. There's a side of them, it's almost like it feels a bit Gemini, and it feels like there's like two sides of the coin, and they're both really significant. One is the person who just has a lot of fun, wants you to have a lot of fun with them, sees you as a fun person. And then there's the intuitive who really knows what's going on in a room, what's going on in a family, in a friendship circle, whatever it might be. Possibly quite psychic, I think, with the intuitive card there. And really, you'll know this person. If you don't know the person already, you'll know them because you'll pick up, I think, that they are fun, they are extroverted. And if you are potentially a little bit more introverted, which I get a feeling maybe with these two being around you and admiring you, you may be. You don't have to be, but I get a feeling that some of the people coming to pile one might be a little bit more introverted. Nevertheless, they do very much connect in with you on that level, and they see the depths to you. And then this third person looks like, and I should say this one could also, if it's not a friend, it could be a secret admirer. There could be someone who, and if that's the case, if that's the case, they may well be the sort of person who is almost a bit flippant or fun about asking you out or something, bring you into group activities when underneath there's something much deeper going on. But we'll see what the cards say here about the emotions around it to try and work out whether we're just talking about a friend or whether we're talking about something more. This one down here, we've got the crone and the victim. This does not mean it's an old person, but it does suggest it's someone who comes across with a great deal of wisdom, someone who has an old soul, and someone who's been through a lot. So I'm getting for some of you, this is maybe a family member, somebody who has endured quite a lot. If that's the case, I think you'll know who it is, and you do see them as having endured a lot, but there is a wisdom around them. And equally, some of them may in fact see that you've been through a lot. So this may be them recognizing where things have been done to you that were not right. So if you resonate to that you've gone through some things that were unfair in life, there is someone with the wisdom to be able to really see what that is and to be able to support you in some way. But it feels like, as I say, a family member or a friend. It feels like someone who, as I say, it doesn't have to be old, but maybe older than you, or certainly just has that wisdom. And as I say, they're either someone who recognizes that you've been through a lot, or you will know they've been through a lot, and they see you in that case as a really strong beacon towards a better sort of relationship and a better world and so forth. So let's see what each feel. So this person up here, which I feel is someone who is like a collaborator or a mentor or a guide in some way for you, who sees the artistic and the creative in you. We have, okay, so now we've got a little bit more complicated here, because we've got, you give love a bad name, I just called to say I love you. This may be someone who admires you, but you may not feel the same. So that's an interesting sort of energy. So as I say, we've got the magician and they're making an offer to you. That looks right. And they're very creative. It's possible with that energy. We'll see what you come across to them as, and we'll also see what the feelings are between you. But this may be saying that this person, they genuinely admire you and they genuinely want to be around you. But I'd say their interest is a little bit more of a romantic interest, but possibly you don't feel the same. I think if that's the case, you'll know who it is. And if you haven't met this person yet, you'll know that they will make a romantic offer to you, but they may or may not be someone that you want to be with. So that's an interesting set of energies around that. They're very creative, as I say. They're very sure of themselves. And maybe that's partly why they go, you give love a bad name. They feel almost entitled, if that's the case. So as I said, this is meant to be positive. So it may be just a breakdown in communication here. They may come across as cocky. That's what I'm getting, like really so self-assured and thinking they're going to dominate and be the lead to you, that even if it is a romantic offer, at first it sort of feels like, well, no, hang on. I don't need somebody to be my mentor. I want somebody to be something else. So if that's the case, it moves. It moves from them feeling, well, why didn't you take their offer, to, you know what, I do feel that towards you. So there's an interesting energy there. The other thing I'm getting, and this is very specific, is that I think for some of them this is highly creative, and it's not about them having a crush on you, but it's almost like something creative that they do and something creative that you could do is sort of a bit revolutionary, is a little bit against the grain. What they really admire in you is your originality. So instead of you give love a bad name, it's kind of more you are not following everybody else's dictates. You are your own individual. You will do what you want to do, and they really admire that in you. They really love it about you. Now, that could create a crush, or it could also be just that they really love that energy and they want to work with you. So I am getting both. So the first energy that I got around a collaborator is there, but I do think for some with that combination, they may have a real romantic crush, and they may be a little bit bemused at first if you don't reciprocate. So let's have a look at this one over here to see whether or not this is more like a friendship energy of someone who is the extrovert maybe to your introvert, but is really, understands and admires the depth in you, or whether it's some other sort of energy. Okay, so now we've got poison and crush. I don't get the sense this person is poison to you. Again, we were asking for positive energies here, but I feel like this person feels that some of the people around you are not supportive on you, and they now I am definitely thinking there could be a crush around this. So it could be two people who have a crush on you at the moment, pile one. You could very much be that sort of person that has a number of admirers around of that type. But this person, I think, even thinks that the sort of social world that they're in and that you've met them in, or the workplace that you've met them in, and you won't see this at first because they seem so extroverted and seem to fit in, on an intuitive level they feel like it's not supportive. They want to sort of get on a deeper level. I think they even may see their own extroversion and their own sort of lifestyle as being poison to them now. They're shifting out of that. They're wanting to shift more into the intuitive side of things, and they definitely could have a crush on you. So even if they're a friend, and they may come across as a friend, there's something else going on there. Now, I do have to say that crush doesn't always have to be a romantic crush. Sometimes people can have an intellectual crush on someone, or they could have a crush on something that you do. They're crushing on what you produce and how good you are at what you do. So again, the energies could go either way in both of these. These could be two literal secret admirers, or admirers that aren't maybe so secret. Or it could be that this is someone who loves what's individual and unique about you, and this person over here sees you as deeper, more relating to their intuitive side, and they are wanting to change, and it's more a crush of following somebody, like really liking the example and so forth. So it could go either way. You'll have a better sense, pile one, as to whether or not this is romantic, either of these are romantic or not. Let's have a look at the feelings around the third person. Okay. So again, we're getting dual messages here. I think this may happen with these readings, that we could be picking up admirers in terms of secret admirers, or people who have crushes. We could also be picking up friends. I do think the dominant energy here is more around a friend, a support, or a mentor, or a family member. And even though we've got I'll never break your heart, and it is possible, it's possible with all of these, that this is someone also who maybe is who's gone through something and they've got a crush on you, and they are drawn to you, and you can sense the wisdom about them. But my real feeling around this, unless we get a lot of other cards that suggest something else, pile one, is that this is like a family member or a very close friend, or even I'm getting an extended family member in the sense of maybe a godparent or something like that. And they've been thinking about you because maybe you've gone through something. It's interesting, these three energies bringing it together. It looks like they feel that you've gone through something, that you've had your heart broken in some way, and they've seen it happen. So that's them more being conscious of you feeling victimized or left alone or whatever. And they are always going to be supporting you. They're not going to let you down. So it may be picking up that somebody's let you down. And the interesting thing I'm getting is that between these two, it may be this person who really admires your creativity and your style and who you are. They may in fact not know what has happened in a relationship. I'm getting, this is very specific, but I'm getting it's almost like these three, if they don't know each other, there's an interconnectivity. It's like this person here has the intuition and the wisdom to know that something happened in a relationship around you, and some of the people around you are the wrong people around you, and that you were the person who was heartbroken or the person who was left behind. This person sees it as well, sees that people do see that. So yeah, I'm getting a very strong thing that people have come to this reading. You may have had a difficult relationship that you broke up from recently, and there might have been a lot of gossip and stuff around it, a lot of people taking sides and so forth. And so I feel like we have a family member or a friend, or as I say, extended family member wanting to give you that support. There's someone over here who I think either just wants to bring you into a better social circle, or may be wanting to be the new person who understands, that you're good value and that what's happened to you was wrong. And a person over here, I think, just wants to support you because they recognize what's been happening. So it's a very specific thing here. So if this doesn't resonate for you, Pole 1, you mightn't have come to the right reading. I just get a sense that you've got 3 cheerleaders around you, a couple of which might be interested in being the next person in your life, but certainly that see you as the person who is of value in terms of relationships and love and having gone through something. So I want to use the archetype oracle one more time, and I'm going to just shuffle and bring out an archetype for how they view you, because it might also give us a little bit more information potentially on what are the potential connections with these people to you. Okay, so this does give us a little bit more information. It's good because it's quite mysterious, these cards together, so it's starting to give a bit of a pattern. This person may have been someone that you were with before, and they've heard, I don't think they're the person who victimized you. I don't think they're that person, but there's someone who's known you before. They're coming back into your life. They possibly were someone you were with before, and they've heard, I think, about whatever's happened, but they're still there. They still care about you. They still see that there could be a future together. So I think this is definitely a romantic connection, even though I think it's also very creative, and there's a possibility of doing creative things together. But they've heard something. They've heard the gossip. They know what's happened, and it's like they know that that's the time to come forward. So they may not be back in your life yet, but they will be back in your life if this other stuff resonates. This person over here definitely sees you as a visionary. That's linking with the intuitive card. I think that they see that people around you have been jealous of you, people haven't understood you, and once this thing happened around a relationship, particularly if it was around other friends, a lot of people took that as a way of lessening you, but they don't lessen you. Now, it is possible they could be with the intuition, have a crush on you that is romantic. It is definitely possible. It's also possible that they just simply see you as being this much more vibrant, visionary person. In fact, there's a very strong feeling between the two of these that you are that you are very creative, you are very visionary and so forth. But I feel like you're someone who doesn't push that forward in some way. I feel like the extroversion of this person, as I say, balances off the introversion for you. They want to help bring that forward. And over here, I feel like the person, maybe when you were together before, or they were around your life before, even if you weren't together as such, they were a little bit too dominant. And maybe you didn't want to be with them for that reason, and now they see a way to come forward, but they're recognizing more about what you bring to the table. This person down here absolutely thinks the world of you. With the Leo card, they see you as charismatic, they see you as generous, they see you as someone who should have a lot of confidence. That's why they've been thinking about you. They want to help heal your heart. They want to take you out of that sense of something that went wrong. So I do very much feel as though this is, as I say, a friend, family member or something like that. And they just think the world of you, which is lovely energy. So let's have a look at some cards around, actually I've got to pull one more card for that, so just give me a second. I thought I pulled 3, but I've only pulled 2, so just wait for a second. It was the magic of video turn on and off. We've now got 3 because I just wanted to get a sense about the feelings between you around this as well too before we move into the tarot. So, okay, again, it's picking up whatever this thing is that didn't go right for you. And I do think this person, again, getting more information, I think that possibly when you knew each other before, they were interested in you when you weren't. That's the feeling I get about it. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be interested in them in that way now, but it's like they've seen something and they want to come back and make you feel good about yourself. But they've been feeling a bit apathetic. They haven't really known how to do it. And so that's, I think, how this triggers. I think that this allows them to know there's a way to have a reunion with you. But yeah, I think that they were hurt before, and I think that they've gone through some very deep soul searching. It's also possible, if that's you coming back to them, that you've been feeling a bit listless and apathetic because of whatever's happened that made you feel this way. And if that's the case, then I think the boredom into beauty is when they do return into your life. There's something about the creative offer or whatever that they could bring to you that really helps you. Over here, this person is really angry on your behalf, like really angry on your behalf. They see what's happened. They think the world of you. They think that you've been really unfairly treated. It is possible that it isn't in a love relationship, though I think for many of you it may have been a love relationship that wasn't fair and good to you, but it may also be that they feel like you've been overlooked or that what you bring to the table hasn't been seen. But they're not going to blow it all up, I will not combust. They're going to try and draw you out, I think. And they're picking up with their intuition the anger that you feel for what's happened as well too. The person down here just picks up your vulnerability, wants you to always have healthy boundaries around you, and they remind you of that. So there's a very strong connection between these. It feels as though family primarily here, I think, friends, and maybe friends from the past who wanted a bit more and may still want a bit more from you, or someone who, as I say, in the friendship circle wants to be more. So it's fairly complicated. So let's have a look and see what tarot gives us in terms of what Spirit will be saying is the best energy. I'm going to pull 3 tarot cards for each. The best energy for this relationship, this admiration relationship for you, for your highest good, and for theirs, obviously, as well. Okay, so firstly up here around the person who I feel has been in your life before and has either just returned on the back of understanding something has happened or understanding themselves a bit better, or is going to return. What Spirit is saying here is that this person used to be, I think, the Knight of Matches or Knight of Wands upright, used to be very brash, very confident, but they understand and work with their impulses better now. They definitely have gone through something, and because of that they have quite a lot of hope and quite a lot of belief in what could be done, but they're worried. Understand that, and this may be where some of the apathy comes from, that they really do feel like there's something between the two of you, whether it's romantic or not, that has a lot of really great opportunity, but they're a little bit worried about how to express that. That's why I think it's some information that comes in on your life that helps them come back or do that. They have a lot there's a lot of stored energy and a lot of stored hope and dreams around this from their perspective for you. And I think this is saying with that Knight of Matches reversed, don't act on impulse around it, think it through, because I think they also stir a little bit of anxiety in you as well too. They're sort of like, have they shifted? Could it be better than it was before? It is possible that you were with them before and this is now, but you walked away because they just weren't mature enough or they were too controlling and you're a little bit worried about that. So there's a balance of caution but hope. There's actually a friend of mine who used to talk about people that he was interested in, and if you went out with them, he would say grounds for cautious optimism. I think that's kind of the energy I get here. There are grounds for cautious optimism around this person. I do think that they've shifted quite a bit. I do think if they were a little bit too full of themselves before and a little bit too controlling, they have actually made some progress with learning about that. And they do know, they thought you left them, but now they realise that in actual fact, you did the right thing because the balance wasn't right. So there's a little bit of guilt around it as well too, but there's still hope. So I think that there is a positive energy around this, but I give it time to see. And it doesn't have to be, what I'm getting is it doesn't have to be a relationship, a romantic relationship again, unless you want it to be. They would be able to be with you as a friend or as a collaborator in some way, because there's something about their creativity and your creativity that really gels. And somewhere in the midst of it, I think maybe because there was a relationship or you collaborated and it got a bit competitive and controlling, it fell apart. But now there is an opportunity around that, Spirit is saying. Over here, around this friend who might also have a crush on you, they definitely want you to leave something that has been of some long standing, and they are forced to help you do that because we've got the 10 of buttons or 10 of pentacles reversed. It is time to move away from something. So I'm feeling like it's time to move away from certain friendships that were not supportive to you. And it will be very clear to you over this time which they are. In fact, you may feel, well, how do I do that? I'm sort of like just walking away. I'm not completing something. I'm getting, for some, it might even be shifting a workplace. So this person may see something not working in a workplace and help guide you into another, or even bring you into another sort of career potentially, because they really see who you are. So for some, it might be around not having been seen and recognised in a workplace or in study or something like that in some way. But it's the energy around this is to release you from something that really can't complete, that has done what it was going to do and is not, it's law of diminishing returns. It's meant to take you out of the sense of this card, the unknown, which is a bit like the Fool. But here it's around moving from an environment with it reversed where it's all kind of puffed up glory. There's a sort of sense in here of friendships or a workplace or something like that where everything is all about show and it's not got the depth for you and it's just not going to return, and this person knows that for you and wants to help you move away from that and recognize who you are. This pack down here, so we've got also a sense of change around relationships. This person, as I say, has seen you go through something in a relationship that their heart breaks for you and they want to give you that support. But they also think that you are moving through that and you're moving to a point where you could start to love again, be involved again. I'm thinking these two are kind of connected in a way. I think this person may know about this person, if not immediately now. I think they would very much support this sense of move towards, with the Four of Matches, the Four of Wands, in other words, the better friendships, the better environments. Allow the endings that need to happen because that brings in the better relationships. So yes, I feel whether or not this is a relationship that you want to have back romantically, I think that it's a relationship that could be revived in one form or another and could be very creatively good for both of you. This could be a crush and somebody who is bringing you out of one environment so that you can understand who you are, in which case that's fantastic, but I don't think you'll see or realise the crush till you've made that change. At the moment, I feel like they just want you to understand how wonderful you are, because they think other people have tried to tell you you're not. And this one here is someone who can see this happening and just wants to be your support. So just in case you don't know who these people are, I'm going to use a few decks and just pull a couple of cards from each for some characteristics of each person, particularly, as I say, if they aren't people that you know already or aren't in your life yet. Okay, so firstly, this deck sort of looks at different things from astrology through to sort of colour energy and so forth, and even where people might have come from. So these are collective readings, remember, so not all of these may apply. It's just if they do, it might confirm for you that you're thinking of the right person. So this person firstly is coming up as Gemini, and that makes sense to me. They do feel witty, entertaining, persuasive, versatile. They always were. There's someone, as I say, who is very, very confident, very, very creative. And that's great. And it's sort of something also that you can reconnect on. But I think it's also that sort of dual side with Gemini, where there was also, maybe they were just a little bit too full of themselves. But they've retained that wit and that entertaining ability and so forth. So if there is something in this that you could work on together, they certainly have the right energy for that. It's possible that they come from the sort of oceanic area. So Australia, Samoa, New Zealand, Fiji, Guam, Vanuatu, Tonga. They don't have to, but they may, or it might be something about those particular places that are relevant to where you maybe knew each other, maybe you met on a holiday there. I get a sense of a holiday with the sort of what looks like the sea under there. So maybe you met them originally on a holiday. Maybe you'll re-meet them on a holiday if it's not connected to that particular area. This person over here may be a pig under Chinese astrology. So if you know what year they were born, that might actually connect to that. Otherwise, it might be that when you first came across them, that it's connected to those, or when we next have the year of the pig, there might be something really important between you. It's interesting that beige is coming up because they come across as really extroverted and so forth, but I think that this is the hidden side of them. There's the extrovert, but I think underneath there is that intuitive person and the conservative, neutral, dependable person. They can be really trusted. I think beige is really saying they're very, very trustworthy. It might also be that they're extroverted but in a conservative environment. And part of what they might be seeing here is that both you and them shouldn't be in such a conservative environment. If this is picking up work, it's not going to work. You're both far too original. Down here for the person I think is your supporter in your family or very close circle, they're very much a communicator with blue and with the throat chakra. They're very calm and cool. This picks up the crone energy. They're wise and they're cheerful and confident. And they want you to be that way. The solar plexus energy is there. They have self-actualized in some way and they want you to do that. It's also possible that they have blonde colouring as well. Let's have a look at another one that's about personality for each. Okay. So I think this is showing the change that has come up in the person. I think that they've moved from being very brash into having more discernment and having more weight to what they do, more equilibrium in what they do. I think that's what you're going to notice about them, that they have moved from being all sort of light and colour and energy and confidence into something that is more weighty, more sensible, more well thought out. So they're also someone who potentially has some clairvoyance. They're potentially picking up that magician energy. So there could be a telepathic link with them as well, I'm getting. But the main energy around this is that they have shifted. They have grown up, quite frankly. That's the feeling around it. This is very much showing that this person is the intuitive underneath. They are not what they appear to most people. They keep most of what they think to themselves. They're very circumspect. And they can assess what's going on in an environment with an incredible precision. They really do have great calculation powers. They do understand what's going on in the environment. So it's very worth talking to them and listening to them because they will be reading this right. And they do want you to be all that you could be. Person down here understands that you've been through a destructive cycle. I think this is what this is picking up. And they see that there is an eventuality. Sometimes there are things that we go through that teach us stuff and so forth. So they're trying to sort of get you to see what went through that, what you could learn from that, what you can see with curiosity, what you can take control of to move forward, how you can be the phoenix rising from the ashes. So I'm going to do another couple of cards around what else might be showing up for each of these. Okay, so yes, they've definitely grown up. They're far more down to earth. I think that that's a difference. They may also be into sports and fitness, very much into, and that's interesting with that weight then as well too, in the sense of the equilibrium, the physical equilibrium and so forth. It may be that part of being down to earth is they got into that. Maybe when you knew them before, they were a bit wild, and now they're actually more focused on health on a broader level. Again, we've got social butterfly. This person is not what they appear to be. They appear to be extremely extroverted, extremely the social butterfly, but they're very loyal to their family and friends. And I do think it's somewhere around that. That's why I think maybe these two have a connection as well. I think all three do, actually. So there's a family and friend connection here. And I think that they would be really valued by your family and the friends that are the right ones for you, not perhaps some of the more competitive ones you've had around you. This person may be an air sign. They certainly like time out and quiet time. So they're sort of someone who you can't necessarily be on the phone to all the time and so forth, but they need their time out. They need to replenish their batteries, but they will be there for you when you need them. So let's just pull a few letters as well, just for some initials, just in case that also helps. Okay, so here we have G, N, K, and D. So I'd say they are definitely potentially names. Some of that may connect for you. Over here we have B, I, V, and S. So it's almost vibe. So that's, again, I feel that electric energy around them. But again, it could be potentially initials that resonate. And this one we had R, A, and O. Or maybe there's a connection between these two in terms of sports and fitness as well. But that's just, again, letters that may or may not resonate. If they don't, for who you think this is a collective reading. So it may not be what is really all about it. So to finish off, I want to get one card for each for what you can create together. And this is in the broad sense, in relationships, in life, in whatever it might be. What's the creative energy between you? Okay, so I think you've created this in this person actually. They've become a shapeshifter. There is something about what happened between you before and what they now want if they come back into your life, which has caused them to shapeshift, which has really been revolutionizing for them. And they really admire you for that. The fact that you were really clear about what you wanted and you didn't want. And they can really see a capacity to do that. And potentially also, I'm getting that if they do know that you've been through a hard time, they want to help you as well, and either be in a relationship with you again of some sort, or maybe, as I say, create something as well. Create something, again, that phoenix rising from the ashes sort of feeling comes around this. You two can find the new community. There's something about this person, whether you end up in a relationship, whether they have a romantic crush on you or not, there is something about them that helps you both create the community that is healthier and better for both of you. And this person gives you the wisdom to surrender to the change, when things break apart, that they need to break apart so that your next step of fate can come in, who can help you have the quiet time and the inner solace and the inner understanding and surrender to what is coming in and wanting to be born in your life. So they're all really, these two in particular are really supportive, almost without conditions, without anything like this, unconditional sort of love and support, though this person may have a secret crush on you. This person over here is a little bit more conditional, I have to say. I don't think that they would ever think badly of you or cease admiring you, but I think that they do want to reconnect in some way and make up for the past. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 1. I do think that you may have been through a bit, but your time is coming for much better connections, much more love, much more support in your life. And these three people, in one way or another, are going to be key cheerleaders for you. So I hope it does resonate, and I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if it does resonate, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So each of these sets of archetype cards are meant to give us a bit of a sense about who each of these top 3 admirers of you may be. Then we'll have a look at the jukebox oracle to get a bit of a sense about what their feelings or response to you is, like what's the nature of the admiration or the nature of the relationship that you're in. We'll then have a look at what you represent to them, feelings that you share, and other characteristics, including Spirit's advice about how to get the best out of the relationship. So we've got 3 people here, and it's a little bit intense with a couple of them, I think, but let's go through them one by one. So the first person we've got here is probably a Taurus, or has Taurus strong in their chart, or has personality characteristics that are like a Taurus. Taurus is warm. Taurus is a lover of good food, good wine, the good things in life. They're very earthy. It's an earth sign. They can be a bit stubborn sometimes. They're very much someone who likes the feel of things, so to speak. And it's interesting that we've got a creator here. So it may very well be this person is someone who is in the creative arts in some way or works with their hands to create things. If they don't do that, then maybe they're an amazing cook and their creativity comes out in that way. But there's something, they're earthy and practical, but very creative as well too. I would suspect with those 2 together that if they have Taurus strong in their chart, they may also have some fire sign energy strong in their chart, like Leo or Sagittarius, for instance, that kind of sense of that burst of energy and colour. I do think that there's someone who is, if not the life of the party, they're probably not the life of the party, but there's someone who really enjoys a great party, a great social environment, going out to dinners. As I say, they may be an amazing cook and put on amazing dinner parties themselves. There's something about this person, as I say, that's very earthy, that's very material and wants to enjoy life and wants to see it as a creative adventure. And so they're drawn to you in some way because they see you as having those qualities, and whether or not they're qualities that you want to share with them, or what the relationship has been like if you already know them, or what it's going to be like if you're yet to meet them, we'll see as this builds up. What I'm finding in these readings is that as we put layer on layer, we get much more of a sense about what the relationship is about, because all we're getting in these is a bit about who they are as people. This second person is, we've got high roller and rebel. So I think this is someone who likes to live by their own dictates. They really don't like authority. They really don't like being told what to do. They love to take risks. This will show up in any number of ways. They might be someone who likes to sort of speculate in one form or another. It could be in their career. They could be in speculative sort of industries and so forth. Or they could be someone who really likes to play card games and all that kind of thing. They like to take risks. They like high stakes things. He's a very high energy person and someone who won't be constrained in any way. So I don't think it'd be hard to miss who this was if you know who it is already, and if you're yet to meet them, it's going to be fairly obvious, because this person takes no prisoners. This person really, really sees life as an adventure and is prepared to take the risks and stand up for what they believe in. This person down here looks really intense. Like, they're all intense in different ways. This person's intense about enjoying life, the sort of the sensual and sensate side of life. This person loves the sort of fiery risk and living on the edge. This person is emotionally incredibly intense, and I would say feels wounded in some way, whether they feel wounded by you and it's sort of like someone who's had a crush on you and you haven't reciprocated, or whether they've been wounded by relationships before and you are the person who can help them come out of that, go to the depths with Lilith. There's something a little bit obsessive about this person. Now that's not to say it's bad, because remember, the intention in this reading was around good energies. So it's not saying this is a bad energy around you, but it's either someone who has an unrequited crush on you, I would say, or and it runs very deep, or it's someone who has gone through something and you're a support for them. So let's have a look with the next layer of information about the feelings that they have in relation to you. Okay, this definitely suggests to me, unless we get something that takes it in a different direction with some of the other cards, that these are all people who have been or are in your life where there is some form of romantic connection. So it looks like this person, the earthy, Taurian, lover of good food, wine and so forth, the social bon vivant type, may have been in a relationship with you or may have wanted to have a relationship with you and has kind of realised that it's not going to really come about, because we've got love as a battlefield and release me. So it could be someone who you did have a relationship with, but it's just not working. You know that they love you. You probably love each other if that's the case, but it's just not working. There's something very different. I think there's something very different about you, Pile 2, and I think this is why this person is so strong. I think this person feels quite conventional. This person, probably you met in a conventional way, likes conventional ways of acting and so forth. But you are a bit more fiery, like this person over here. And I think their fire is more creative rather than risk-taking and living on the edge and so forth. So I think there's been tension. I think this is someone that either has been sort of aiming towards being with you and you've been pushing back because they're not that exciting to you on that level and they want to be released from that energy. I don't necessarily think that they're going to leave your life in any real major way, but I think that they've come to a realization and they still really admire you. They're still really besotted with you because that's what this reading is about. But I think that they've come to terms with the fact that it's not quite the right match and that you want someone different to them. What they enjoy is different to what you enjoy. Because over here, this high roller, we've got don't let go of love. So don't let go of the sort of high energy and romance there, and you're still the one. So what I'm getting from this, Pile 2, if you haven't met this person, you'll know, as I say, pretty much instantly, and it's going to move into something very instantly because I feel like they're like your soulmate. It's someone who has the same verve for life that you do. They may, in fact, be a bit of a role model for you because you may have settled to some degree for something that was more conventional, and this finally makes you feel alive. But the interesting thing is they also feel that you represent something longer term for them, that maybe they've had lots of relationships, flings and so forth, all part of this high energy, take no prisoners type of approach. But they see this as more important. There's something about you that they know, as I say, the soul twin met their match, like that. I'm getting they've met their match, and I'm sort of seeing it like a match striking, so that fiery energy. So I think it'll be very clear on the fact that they want to be with you, and I think that it'll be mutually exciting. Down here, this might be an ex, definitely, I think, or someone who has had a crush, I think probably unrequited. And they, again, it's a bit like over here, it's like this person comes into your life and it blows everything else out of the water. If you haven't met this person yet, you're going to soon. And it's kind of, it like makes other people who've had a crush on you or had an eye on you or been in some form of relationship with you realize it's not going to really be what this could be. This person takes it harder though. This person kind of, because they're so sensual and they're so down to earth in many ways, they kind of go, okay, that's what it is. I just need to get out of this cycle because it's not going to do that. Maybe we can be friends. That's the feeling there. This person's got a lot of stuff they're dealing with and they're feeling it very, very strongly. So certainly Spirit would be saying wherever that relationship ends up, and there's a lot that's good in all of these because of the intent of the reading, you do need to understand how intensely this person feels it. And I think it's here so that you know to be kind to that person. So let's pull another archetype card to see how each is seeing you at the moment. Just for a bit more information. Okay, so firstly we've got a couple of astrological things. I think this makes perfect sense. This is the Taurus, and then Scorpio is basically the opposite of Taurus. So I think they know that you're opposites. Like on a basic level, they know that you're opposites. They also see that you're very intense. They very much admire that in you. They admire your intensity. They're probably drawn to it. Often opposites in your horoscope chart, a bit like opposites attract. There is that kind of energy, and it was part of what they found intriguing about you. But there's also that oppositional feeling between Taurus and Scorpio, which can bring about that love as a battlefield. I think it's part of what they realise. You're too intense for them. Whereas this person over here is coming up as the maiden. You don't have to be a woman. That's not about gender, but it is about something new and exciting and romantic. So they very much see you as highly attractive. Like you are, moth to a flame really operating here between the two of you. This person feels as though, I think that they've always been in the friend zone actually with Capricorn. So Capricorn is sort of like the structured, down to earth again, a little bit sort of conservative type of feeling. And it's possible, because Capricorn is sometimes associated with the devil, which is why the character has devil horns, that they might feel like that you have been sort of like that intoxicating person, but the person that could not be grounded into a relationship in some way, or they may feel you're a bit of a devil at the moment, but they'll come through that. They just may feel that being around you has been difficult. So again, I feel like you need to tread with care with this person to maintain whatever it is that can be maintained as a relationship without hurting them further. So let's have a look at some feelings that you each evoke in each other. Okay, so I think this person, they are grounded, they do realise, but I do think they're envious of what you have, your intensity or live life at the edge, that kind of fiery thing, and I think they're envious of this person over here. I think that they will get past it. They're going to start to realise what they have. My qualities are beyond compare, and they'll think, and so I've got to find the right person and so forth. But I think they also see your qualities as beyond compare, and that's the tricky balance. There might have actually been a competition between the two of you as well in this relationship. So love is a battlefield on that level. So who was the best at something might have been an energy around this relationship. Over here, it's two fiery, intense energies coming together. So it is possible sometimes that you burn each other out. So it is important, because there's so much energy around this, to only take on what you can handle, and for them to do the same. I think there's a kind of an energy with don't let go of love there, of push-pull, where you might both sometimes just need time out and time away. And if you understand that with each other, then that works really well. This person, luckily, does see that they've passed the worst of it, and they are optimistic and better days ahead, and I think so are you. So I do think that you have handled whatever this is well. I think that you have been able to let them down gently, and if this hasn't happened yet, you will be able to let them down gently, so that's good. So I want to have a look at some defining characteristics from a variety of oracles, so that if you don't know who these people are, it might give you some more information, particularly if they're not people who've come into your life yet. And this is a collective reading, so if you know who these people are, you think, and that this doesn't fit, that just means it's for other people who've come to this reading. So take what makes sense to you in identifying these energies and these people around you. Okay, so these are very specific sorts of descriptors, I think. So let's go through them. This person, we've got played, independent, laid back, masculine and cozy. It doesn't mean they have to be a male. It could be just a sort of like that divine masculine sort of energy, but it's definitely that Taurian, of the earth, that type of energy. And they're strong people, which is good. And they were fun, and not fun, but they might have been fun to be with. I don't mean to say they weren't, but they were comfortable to be with. And I think that there was a real connection, like the third eye connection with you, a spiritual connection. They're very gentle. That Taurus can be very gentle. And that third eye picks up the Scorpio energy as well too. They may have liked to wear those sorts of colours, indigo or plaid types of clothing, for instance, as well. But it does feel more ultimately of a meeting of the minds and friends. That energy feels more like friends, and so it will shift into that, I think. This person over here could come from Asia, or there may be some Asian type of connection between you in some way. Maybe you even meet on holiday in Asia, for instance. But that is a possibility, that there's some connection to Asia. We've got the yellow energy again, the sort of sense of like the really self-actualized person, brave, independent and so forth, they're very confident and they are cheerful. They could have fair colouring as well with yellow. But yeah, they will not be a shy, retiring type, and they ooze confidence and they're ready to take the world on, and you'll know them very clearly. This person was more camouflage. This person hid a lot of what they feel. You may not have even realised. It could have been unrequited and something has come up that you've realised that and you've shifted through that. Or you may have shifted through that energy without even realising that happened. So it might have been a secret love. They could also have been into the outdoors and so forth. And you may not have realised how sensitive they were because they might have come across as very tough and potentially quite fiery. So, more sort of like in the moment. They might have even wanted to be a bit like this person. So that might be something that's coming across. They were kind of wanting to bring that fire out and fire in you. They could have had pointy features. They could have been very animated in the way that they spoke, unruly hair, flushed skin, those sorts of things. Let's look at some personality characteristics for each of these. Okay, so this person here, they really do understand timing, synchronicity, and they know their intuition's very strong. It's also something that they admired in you with that Scorpio energy. They know the right timing. They know when and how to shift a relationship. It's not going to have been if you were together, it's not going to have been a difficult separation. They have known, they kind of made it easier to happen, and they are very, I think I'm getting punctual, they're very reliable, and you do rely on them, I think, as a friend, to bring things into balance and so forth. I do think that you will be friends going forward. This person is all about their ambition and who they are. They have really strong senses of memories of things that excited them and so forth, and they really like to live the life that they want to live. It's part of who they are. It's a self-expression, and they're highly ambitious. They do want to kind of conquest things and so forth. They could be a little bit vain sometimes, be aware of that, because they are really, really confident. So, sometimes that might be the overloaded energy. You might have to deal with someone who's maybe a little bit full of themselves on occasion, but it's because they are living the life, they are wanting to live the life that fully expresses themselves, and they see you as someone that is like them and would do the same thing. This person, again, you probably didn't know how deep this feeling ran. They are very agreeable, suave, all of that sort of thing, and you will probably you're greatly in tune. It might even, to this point, if you know who this person is, it might surprise you. You might think, well, they had a crush, because I think they did, but they've shifted through and understood that's not going to happen on some level if that's the case. And I think it's also saying, because it's so agreeable, this energy between you, and because you are so in tune, you will be able to continue with that optimistic side of things. So for some of you, it might be a real surprise, and you're thinking, I know who that person is, but I had no idea they were interested. But it ran really deep for them. So let's pull another couple of cards from another oracle for just a little bit more information that might help identify the persons that we're talking about here. Okay, so interestingly, we've got non-committal there, and like Taurus sort of feels more sort of stubborn and committed, but it may be that they always knew in some ways that there was a push-pull going on in this environment, and it may also be why moving into friendship became easier. The sports and fitness, they may be very much into sports and fitness. I think they're very much into their body. Like the whole thing around this is like sensual and good food, a good wine and good exercise and all that kind of thing. But I think in this case, the non-committal is good, because it's not that they didn't really admire and they weren't really attracted to you. They were. They are a really big fan of yours and remain that way to this day, pile two. But possibly it's good that they didn't commit, because they sort of picking up that knowing and that sort of sense of timing. They just knew this wasn't going to be what maybe they had wanted it to be. Getting the same issue as person over there. They're very good at what they do. They like to play games. I don't think it's playing games with you in terms of being duplicitous or anything. I literally think they're skillful. They like games, that sense of like playing poker at the beginning, that kind of thing. You may well meet them through something like that. In actual fact, they're very skilled at what they do. They appear to take big risks, but really they don't, because there's a strategy behind everything that they do. They don't go into a battle or a competition until they know that they can win it. And I think they see the same in you. This person down here, again, we've got the fair complexion or fair colouring potentially around them. And again, they probably appeared more confident than they actually were. That picks up the suavity and so forth. As I say, I think you'd be surprised if you are thinking about who this person is. You'll be surprised how deep their feelings for you ran, because I don't think they talked about it. So let's pull some letters just to see if there's any initials that can help identify people more. So up here we've got Z, C, D and W. So I would presume they would be potentially initials, or it could be things like initials or acronyms for a workplace that you meet in, or a sports club or something like that. It could be something with those sorts of letters. Over here we have P, M, I, J and H. So that also feels like it's initials potentially. There's no sort of words being spelt out. We've got V, C, N and U here. So that could, I'd say that's also, there's no particular word. I mean, there's nut or cut. I mean, cut could be that you are cutting, there was a cutting of ties, or some of what they felt cut a bit deeper than you thought potentially. But again, it's probably going to be initials if it resonates for you. So last but not least, I want to ask what the energy between the two of you is going forward. Okay, so in this one there's depth. I do think this is someone who you're going to be friends with. I think it's going to be a really good relationship and a really good friendship, but it's not meant to be a romantic one now, even if it was, because you are so different, and you found the person over here that you've got the right rhythm with. You found the person who the energy is right with. So Spirit is saying to stick with that's a good energy. Even if it feels a little bit risky because a person feels high risk, it's not. They're actually going to be very committed to this. And here you feel ready. So I'm getting that some of you are having an aha moment. If this is resonating, you're having an aha moment and you kind of think, oh my God, I had no idea that person felt that way. And I don't think that things are bad between you, but just being aware of it, you are ready. You are ready to deal with anything with that person so that you don't hurt them in any way, and you make them feel more and more comfortable with where the relationship is ultimately going to settle. So I hope that was helpful for you. Pile one. Oh, actually, I just suddenly remembered something. I didn't do the tarot. I'm really sorry. We are going to just do it now because I actually forgot to do the tarot. I went straight into the other energy. So, pile two, we're going to look at the tarot now, and we'll use that as the closing out around Spirit's advice to you around these relationships. I mean, I think we've got a pretty strong sense here, but let's do the tarot now. Silly me for getting the tarot. Okay, so here with the relationship, I think that might have been one, or someone might have been interested and they've moved it into a friendship. There is a lot of really strong communication between you, and that's where it's going forward with the Magician. So it is finding its right balance. It really is, pile two. So that's good. But it has been a journey of pragmatism with the Seven of Cups reversed. I think this is very much the person realising that they had hopes for this that were not going to work out. But the good thing is it's releasing whatever the anxiety and the battling was with the Five of Needles or Five of Swords reverse. That suggests that that love is a battlefield that we saw at the beginning is shifting out, and it's shifting into a much better communication, a much more pragmatic and sensible way for that relationship to be. So that's confirming that. Over here, interestingly enough, you are stronger together for a start, but it's interesting in this pack that strength also talks about self-mastery. So I think that you bring out the best in each other, you really help each other self-actualize, and there's a great deal of generosity of spirit between you. This is not a competition. This is like just really enjoying, even if it feels like it sometimes, because I do think sometimes you might play games together or compete with each other or do all that sort of stuff, but it's about the exhilaration of it. And I think for one or both of you, this is moving out of a time of feeling quite alone. I actually think it might be the other person. I think this person may have been someone who's been alone for quite a while because they found it hard to find someone who operates at the same level. And in you do. And it's very fundamental to who you are with Pentacles energy or Buttons energy as it is in this particular deck. It's grounded and it can be in some way, and it makes you both a lot stronger. Down here, we have the changing of the relationship. So we've got Seven of Buttons or the Seven of Pentacles. There's still a lot here. It's not a relationship that's going to end as such. It's just going to shift. And part of that is this person with the Queen of Buttons reversed, letting go of what they maybe wanted, what they were committed to, so that they can have a new hope for a different sort of relationship with the star. So it is confirming the same energies. I do apologise for not doing the tarot earlier in the reading, but it's still been done and we've still got that extra bit of information. So I think it's confirming a past relationship or someone who was interested in you and is now going to be a friend. The one, quite frankly. I think if you haven't met this person, you're meeting them soon, and that's really positive. And someone who's coming to terms with the fact that their crush on you is not going to be realised in that sense, but there is still something really precious in the relationship. So I hope that resonates for you, pile 2, and I hope it was an enjoyable reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you do have comments, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. One of the things I've found doing these readings, because I've done them in order, is that I seem as the way they build to be using different cards and different orders of cards and so forth. So each of them is going to be quite different, I think. So if you do end up going to more than one reading, you'll probably find a slightly different structure to each. But one thing that's in common with all of them is we start off with the archetype oracles to look at something about the nature of each of these people to help you identify them. Then we're going to have a look using the jukebox oracle about what their feelings are in relation to you at the moment to also help identify that. And we'll look at what you represent to them and what the relationship could be with tarot and other oracles and some more defining features. But I'm going to go intuitively because I did each of 1 and 2 slightly differently. So we'll just see as the energy comes through what spirit guides me to do. Yours is really interesting, I have to say, pile 3. You are someone who has a lot of people interested in you, and I think this is primarily around romantic interests. And I think the good news is that at least one of them you're very interested in. The other 2, I think, are quite competitive, maybe competitive with each other or competitive for your attention. So the first one, which is the good news one, is that this looks like there's someone who, we've got femme fatale, it doesn't have to be male or female. We've got both genders in that sense, the 2 ends of the gender spectrum represented in the pictures in the card. So this is not about gender, but this is about someone who you find very attractive, very fascinating, and you have a crush on. So I think you'll know who this person is. And if there isn't anyone in your life like that at the moment, then when you feel that, this is going to be this person. So there is definitely saying that someone that you have a crush on very much admires you because of the meaning and the intent of this reading. And we'll see as we go through whether that then extends to having a mutual crush. But I'd be cautiously optimistic about that. I'd be thinking that that's actually really likely to be the case, and we'll just see as it plays out. Then we have 2 people who seem to be in your life, and I think, are potentially relationships or had wanted to be relationships. That's the sense I get of it, but we'll see also with the other cards. One may well be famous, and look, fame can mean any number of things. It could be someone who is very famous, depending upon who you are and what circles you move in, or it could be someone who is famous on a sort of like the big man on campus, or the head cheerleader or something in sort of university or school, or it could be someone who's very high up in an organisation, or someone who has a high reputation, or even an influencer or something like that on YouTube, that kind of thing. The interesting thing about this person is while they're very well known, there's a lot that's not known about them as well, and part of their fame comes from seeming mysterious. They seem like someone who has a lot of power, a lot of knowledge. People aren't really sure how to take them, and I don't think you're really sure how to take this person either. There's a lot of glamour around them, and behind that there is whoever they truly are. And so it may be that even for you at this point in time, who they truly are is not very clear, but they are very striking in that sense. But I think you find them a little bit disturbing. That kind of mixture of a sense of power that's hidden and glamour is a little bit disturbing. So we'll see how the energy comes out. Then there's someone else down here who I think is also very well established, because we have the king twice. It's interesting. We've got the shadow king and the king. So it's like two quite powerful people. I think you attract powerful people. You're probably a powerful person yourself in one form or another, whether that's structurally or positionally or socially or hierarchically in some way, or whether it's just your energy. This is a powerful people attracting powerful people and moving in those sort of circles. And if you don't yet, you're going to in your life. So this is a pattern that's going to be there. But one of them is very glamorous, very mysterious. One of them is much more clear about who they are, but possibly a little bit clingy. So it's sort of, I think you're actually mainly interested in this person, though I almost get a feeling like you haven't met this person yet. These people are around at the moment. This person kind of blows it all out of the water when they come in, I think, for you, depending upon how they're responding to you. But I feel like at the moment, whether you're aware of it or not, there are two people that very much admire you, that have positions of power or glamour in some way in your life or in your social circle. And one of them is very, very obviously connected to you. You'll know they want to be around you a lot. The other one's a little bit more elusive. So let's have a look at what the Jukebox Oracle says about what they feel. Oh, cool. So yes, I did have a feeling with that one that the crush was mutual, and I think that pretty much confirms that. We'll get to that in a minute. With this one, oh, okay. Interesting energy. We'll get to that as well. And last but not least. Okay. Oh, wow, you have an interesting love life, I have to say, pile 3. And if it hasn't happened yet, you're about to go into a very interesting period of love life. And I think it is love, though it is possible around this energy that it could be broader than love, even though that says that's the way love goes, but I'll get to that. So up here with how they feel about you, they want to be close to you on bended knee. They see something real here. So this is a mutual attraction. Whoever this is, it's someone you're going to have a crush on, or you have a crush on, you find them very attractive. And it's interesting that femme fatale is there, and then we have this sort of like shadowy, glamorous person here, and this sort of like clingy but powerful person. I just think you move in very interesting circles. There's something very interesting around the people that you're around, and there's a lot of intrigue and so forth. If this isn't, say, moving in celebrity circles or high order powerful circles in an organization or a community group, then if you're at school or university or college, something like that, there is glamour and there is like a lot of intrigue and so forth around this. Or it's maybe on the internet, maybe it's sort of social communities there, but there's a lot of that energy around you. And I think that's why when this person comes, because you have a big crush on them, and they seem to be very, very charismatic and very attractive to other people, you might wonder whether it's going to be returned, because there's so many almost games that are around things, not necessarily bad, but like just high order sort of intrigue. It's got a Keeping Up with the Kardashians type of feel to it. It's so I'm not saying it is that. I'm just saying it's that kind of feeling of like a lot of interest and intrigue around relationships for some reason. But the good news is this is a mutual attraction by the looks of things. It may have its challenges, which we'll look at as we go through, but I'd say it's absolutely mutual. This person And this is where the Shadow King comes out. It's got Creep by TLC, and it's got, and I always think of Radiohead as well with this, we've got the lion stalking there. I'm not saying the person's a stalker, but they are someone who sees relationships almost as prey. And again, not in necessarily an abusive way, but they like to be the one who's in control. They like to be the one who pursues, and they don't like to be ignored. They're not used to being ignored. There is, an enormous amount of sort of glamour around them, as I say. And I think that you probably are not drawn to them. You just probably find them a little bit frightening, a little bit sort of unclear, but they're kind of always in your face a bit. You won't be unaware they're interested, but I think you won't be sure about what their motives are. And there is a lot of ego there, I think. With this one down here, it looks as though possibly this has been a friend who wanted more than a friendship, and maybe they really tried to cling on too hard, or tried to sort of be around too much, or suffocated your energy a little bit potentially. But it looks like they've come to terms with it. So if it's someone who had a crush on you that you did not return the energy, they have worked that through. But there was probably a period of time where they seemed very clingy, they seemed to be around you all the time and so forth, and particularly if they were competing with this person up here. So interesting, you have an interesting love life. Let's pull a card for how each are viewing you now, pile 3. Okay. Okay. So here we have past life. So I think this feels like a soul twin, potentially twin flame, but certainly soul twin type of energy. That's why it's so connected. They're going to feel the connection as well. They're going to feel like this is something for the long term. This is something that was meant to be. This was something fated. So it's nice that it feels quite easy. We'll see what other energy comes up with tarot and so forth, but it feels like it kind of clicks. This person over here sees you as very much a person of causes, a person who's very honourable, very upright and so forth. I think that they really admire you beyond being attracted to you. I think they see in you a kind of a sense of, as I say, honour that they perhaps don't have. I think they think that you are more about a cause or an outcome, whereas they may be a little bit more about prestige and so forth. So, but their ego runs really high. So although they really admire that side of you, they want you to pay a lot of attention to them and see them as glamorous and so forth. And I think you are more like what they see there. You're a more secure and a more sort of, cause-related, philosophy-related sort of person. You have honour. That's the feeling that comes across this. This person feels that you are very interesting spiritually, psychologically. You're fascinating. But you're transpersonal. You're a little bit cool, a little bit removed, more of somebody they can talk to and have an interesting philosophical discussions and the nature of life, the universe and everything, but you're not connected. This transpersonal part of Aquarius is there. I think they see you as removed from them. I do think they've come to terms with that. So let's have a look at tarot and let's ask Spirit for some advice around each of these relationships for you. Okay, so when you first come across this mutual crush, there is an issue with the Eight of Cups there where either they or you might be still processing something from a past relationship with the Eight of Cups reversed, or a past pattern. It could also be that you feel a little bit like, oh, that person's, I'm really attracted to them, but I'm not sure that they're attracted back. So there's a sort of the energy of avoidance, as it says there. So I think that Spirit is saying, just let that process through. That's not that's not really real to this. It just needs to be either in their life or your life. Just let go of things from the past and move on. It's time to move on. Don't get stuck or thinking that patterns that have been around before are being repeated here, because it's not. There's also a great call to you or the other person to stop being alone. So one or other of you has been alone for quite some time, I would say, and has put a lot of store by being a self-made person, but you are meant to be in a partnership. And you can build something that is very long-term, very stable together, very material. I'm getting that for some of you, the way that you might first meet and you might first sort of be circling around each other is around something like a business or something in work, and you're building something together, which then helps you realize what a force to be reckoned with you are when you're together, that you are. I get the sense of the concept of the Gestalt, where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Like you're both very good at what you do, or very talented or very smart or whatever it might be separately, but together there is more. Together you create more, and it has a firmer foundation. So this is definitely spirit doubling down on this is a good relationship. Do not think it is bringing in the patterns of the past. And if they feel like that, then focus on what you can create together. That will bring them into that sort of feeling. It's almost like both of you have been burned by other people, and you've each got a crush on each other, and you just think, oh, there's just no way, that other person is so attractive, they're not going to see me. And in fact, eventually you do realise and you do connect together. This person over here, you're right to be worried about them, I have to say. That I don't think that their admiration of you is in any sense unreal. It is. It's true. But they are used to power, and they will use a silver tongue and a way of controlling people and philosophy or whatever to control things, with the King of Needles or King of Swords reversed. So your sense of a shadowy thing is right. They're not necessarily emotionally inauthentic, and their connection and their drawing and their admiration of you is true with the King of Cups. And maybe some of this with the King of Cups, because it's sometimes the wounded healer, their games that they play intellectually with people may have either caused them quite a bit of wounding that they haven't really healed from, or it might have come from being wounded in some way. Certainly, they will be quite clear, I think, about their interest, even though it may seem a bit glamorous or strange. But because we've got the Four of Needles or Four of Swords reversed, so there is something there. But there's also something disquieting about this energy. So I think this is someone who really admires you, genuinely, I think, but their life is really complicated and their ego is really complicated, and sometimes they will use a very clever mind in a way to try and control others. So I don't think I've got a hope of controlling you, quite frankly, and I think that they will come to terms with that. But you have a feeling of unease around them, and not without reason. This person down here has been going through, as it says, self-doubt, their judgment reversed. They may have felt not seen or not connected with, or that there should have been more in the relationship, but they're coming out of the pain of it. This is confirming it. They are coming out of that with the Three of Needles or Three of Swords reversed. And the King of Buttons or King of Pentacles suggests a really good friendship, a really solid friendship coming out of this. And that's them coming back to themselves too. They're a king, but not then so clingy. They are coming into themselves and feeling more stable. So the worst is over with this, if you know who it is already. And if this is all to play out, then there's going to be a competition, I think, between these two. But both of them are going to miss out, because over here, there's the right person for you. So let's look at feelings around each between you. Okay. So deja vu again, that there is going to be a sense in the bones that you've known each other in a past life, or this really reminds you of a pattern, and it's a pattern that is in fact a good one. And it says, I learned from familiar moments. So it might be that part of that is saying too, if you're both kind of circling each other, feeling a little bit unsure of each other, that both of you can learn from this sort of energy before and be able to pick up the signals better. Over here, excluded. It may be the person feels excluded, but I think maybe what you might go through as they start to realise they can't control you is that they may try and exclude you from certain things. So if you're not going to march to their tune, you may find over time that they invite you to less parties, for instance, or something like that. And I think Spirit is saying, remember, we all need to belong, but make sure you belong in the right place. And you've got really good energy over here. And you've also got a good friend down here. So if this person was taking up too much of your time, which I think they were, they take responsibility for that. And if you felt you had to let someone down gently, then you've also taken responsibility for that. So this energy over here, though it is very admiring of you, is too manipulative, I think. So let's look at some defining characteristics for each of these people, just in case you haven't met some of them yet or you're not sure who they are. Because you with this energy could be in a very interesting and vibrant social circle potentially, so it might be trying to sort out who these people are might be hard. Now this is a collective reading, so if you think you know who these people are and these things in the next few decks don't fit, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means this information was to help clarify for someone else who's come to the reading. Okay, so we've got fire and earth energy here for the person who's the mutual crush. They appear Leonian. They might have Leo strongly in their chart. They may have earth sign strongly in their chart if you know their chart. They appear fierce, unapologetic, opinionated and strong, but underneath they've got a crush on you too. So don't underestimate the fact that you make them vulnerable, pile 3. They could have hazel or brown eyes, brown or golden skin, thick hair or full lips. So that may also be an identifying thing for you. Over here, this person, and interesting, we've got Pisces and Aquarius. That's picking up almost the King of Swords and the King of Cups. So the King of Cups is picking up the Pisces. There is a side to them that's romantic and vulnerable. They're very artistic and escapist. That's why they could be a celebrity or an influencer or something. And that is true. And the emotional connection here is true. But I think they process a lot of this and how they operate in the world through a more Aquarian thing. Now that's very free-spirited. It's unconventional, eccentric, quirky, and it can be quite transpersonal. It can be a bit removed. So this is where I think we get... And when it's working positively, it's sort of very philosophical and an influencer and all that kind of thing. When it's working more manipulatively, we can go to the King of Swords reversed. Down here for this person, maybe there's a connection to Asia. They may come from Asia. They may have an Asian, history or, their heredity may come from Asia. Or you could have met in Asia, you could be connected via Asian things potentially. They're very emotional. They're very much an emotional type with water there. They could have a water sign quite strongly in their chart. They may have wavy hair. They're dreamy and artistic, potentially larger eyes and wide hips. So they're just some characteristics that might help you pinpoint the person. And similarly, let's look at some personality characteristics. Okay, so the mutual crush, the mutual potential, past life, the one, soul twin, whatever this is up here, there's something about location that's important here. So it might be they come into your life when you move house, you move workplaces, you leave university and go into a job. There's a location element around this, and you probably meet where you're both trying to find your bearings, or at least one of you is trying to find your bearings, and you're feeling maybe a bit disoriented in a new environment in some way. So possibly that's why we've got the sort of Pentacles energy strongly, that the two of you can come together and help each other find the bearings and then bring equilibrium with weight. That always says to me something like this: there's something weighty about this person. They are serious, about what they do. This is a serious connection. So it's about, but it's also one which has to be brought into balance, which is why I think the Four of Pentacles is good there. The Four of Pentacles can sometimes be a little bit stuck, but I don't feel it is in this case. I feel like it's about the fact of getting that equilibrium and really having a solid foundation. Over here, the person, this person may be kind of torn in two directions. One side of them does want a monogamous relationship, long-term, and they have that sort of sense of that's what love is about. That's the King of Cups energy. But on the other side, they're so strongly individual that they, like to just kind of watch the world and not connect to that depth. And they're in a very strange environment. I keep getting like really high stakes, high energy type of environment. So I think that they would always be torn in that level. And so, if they were someone that you wanted to be with long term, there would be a push-pull operating there. But I don't feel that you do want to. So I think it's more that you'll just notice that thing around them. They might talk a good game about the long-term partner and so forth, but they're really far too free-spirited for that. Down here, we're picking up the attraction. The person was very drawn to you. It's a very strong sort of physical attraction as well, I think, but also highly idealistic as both. So again, that idealism can take it then into a friendship, and they will accept that, I think. But they were very drawn to you. They did want more, I think, than you possibly could give them. So just another couple of cards for each for some more information about the people for you. Okay, so firstly down here we've got medium or dark hair, and we also had light hair, so it really does indicate how much this is for the collective. So I think hair colouring and skin colouring or whatever is almost a little bit not an issue here. It's more the feeling around them. They do like quiet time. They're probably quite introverted and feel things intensely. So I think you will know who the person is on that sort of level. This person may have body art in some way, or like lots of jewelry or self-expression. And again, we've got down to earth. They're a very down to earth person, and it's the practical things that you do together that help solidify that connection between you. And here, non-committal. So the matrimony and the individuality, guilty pleasures, they're living the life at the moment. They may eventually shift into something else, but they're living the life. And I think your hesitance around them is the right thing at this point in time, particularly as a much more important love relationship is coming into your life if it hasn't already. So let's also put some letters down just in case that can give us some more information on the person concerned. So up here we have F, S, M, H, D, and N. So definitely I think these are initials because we don't have any vowels in there to spell words for us. It could be initials of the person. It could also be initials around a workplace that you meet or some other thing like that. For the international person of mystery over here, we have J, X, P, J twice, so J is important in some way. V and B, so again probably initials. And down here with the one who's becoming a friend or will become a friend, C, Z, A, X, L, and B. So again, doesn't necessarily spell out anything in particular, but could potentially be some initials. So last but not least, I just want to look at some energy that these relationships, the two of you together, in whatever form it is, taking into account their admiration for you, what sort of energy and creativity, in a sense, can come out of this relationship. So support, like the beauty about a soul twin relationship, a past life, mutual love relationship is how supportive it is to each other. So I think that's self-evident. It's a lovely energy. The unknown, this person will always be a mystery to you, but I think to everybody, and maybe mostly to themselves, to be honest. So I think caution around them that I think you will feel is advised. And here, perseverance, like seeing it through. I think that this will last the fact that you don't feel the same way about them as they've felt about you. It will become a friendship, and I think it will be one for the long term. So, as I say, right from the outset, it was quite clear you had some complex, interesting relationships around you and probably quite a bit of competition for your attention and a very interesting, highly charged social life potentially. If this isn't happening now, it's coming in the next 3, 6 to 12 months, I would say, but the good news is I think there's a very good outcome for you, and I think you'll get to decide whether you still have this person in your life as sort of, they might be fun to be around and interesting or not, but I think you know to be careful, and here you've got a really good friend. So I hope that that resonates for you, pile 3, and tells you about your top 3 admirers, and that it was fun and enjoyable. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you do know who these people are and how it's working out in your life, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.